For those of you who think that throwing a football means that you must be good at backflips, acrobatics, trampolines,
That took a
Cirque du
turn.
Soleil,
Okay.
and being able to jump really high, which
Well, he jumped
none
really high,
he
though.
he did jump really high. We're talking about what I don't know footballing is, and how Stetson Bennett showed out at the combine one more time here on Locked On Bulldogs.
You are Locked On Bulldogs, your daily podcast on the Georgia Bulldogs, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
What is up, everybody? So happy to have you here on the Locked On Bulldogs podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thanks for being here. Thanks for watching on YouTube. Leave us a thumbs up. Subscribe to the YouTube channel if that's where you are. And get on over to the audio side, Stitcher, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. You can find us over there. If you find us on the audio side, leave us a 5-star rating and review. We appreciate that very much. Thank you so much to everyone who has done that. We're talking more combine stuff today, and we're talking, we're at least beginning our conversation. Might get some other players, but we're beginning our conversations when it comes to, as it goes to quarterbacks. And Clint, I don't know where to start this conversation, but here's what I do know.
Okay.
You and I are lucky to live in a world that includes Stetson Bennett.
Yeah.
There are people, and you know who you are,
You know.
who begged the universe to start JT Daniels ahead of Stetson Bennett. Can we look at the trajectory of a couple careers real quick?
Please.
Can we talk about
This is not us demeaning a young man.
this? Is just pointing out actual facts.
This is what scientists do. You look at things and then you describe observations.
It's
about
called
those
data.
things.
Well, the data is one young man's about to be drafted into the National Football League, and one young man is the presumed starting quarterback at Rice University,
so
and then
glad you
will
said-
never be drafted ever.
I'm so glad you said presumed, because that's not a
The
foregone
truth of the
conclusion.
matter is that you all maybe still were under the impression that Stetson Bennett was a game manager, that Stetson Bennett didn't have the measurables to play NFL quarterback. But Stetson Bennett's got plenty of measurables. You understand?
This is the mind-boggling thing. I'm going to read to you
Yeah.
off NFL's combine statistics his weaknesses.
Okay.
Very small and slight for the position of NFL standards. Daniel, I ask you, is 5'11", 195 bigger or smaller than Bryce Young?
Well, I would like to thank Bryce Young. I invited him to come on the podcast, and he's here. You can't see him. He's off camera. He didn't quite. We tried to get a phone book. Well, it's over an inch taller than Bryce Young. He's got bigger hands than Bryce Young. He throws the ball harder,
hold on,
faster, with more accuracy.
One moment. I'm sorry. I'm going to go back to the weaknesses page.
Oh, sorry.
Lacks drive velocity to fit throws into tight windows. They measured mile per hour.
Oh, interesting.
And
who has velocity?
He tied Will Levis for the highest velocity of all quarterbacks.
Well, I've heard that Anthony Richardson puts a lot of zip on the ball.
Let's talk about Anthony. Let's talk about quarterback drills again. Struggles with placement, touch, and distance on many deep throws. Did you all watch the combine when there were audible shouts and applause when Stetson, and I'm not exaggerating, showed out and became the combine here with the deep throw that went just in 3 yards shorter than CJ
Stroud? It's not us.
Nope.
This is Everyone who was watching the combine, everyone who was watching the combine came away from the combine saying, Stetson Bennett throws the best deep ball of anybody in this class. Now, who's been saying that for years, Clint? Who's the guy, the idiots,
The morons.
the homers,
Not
Locked
real,
on
not
Auburn?
real.
Come back and talk to us about how we're not really
No.
going to start
No,
Stetson Bennett.
No, I don't want Locked on Auburn. I want Locked on Bama. Give
Well,
me Locked on. I need Luke.
I'm going all the way back to 2 years ago when
No, I got laughed at. My boy Daniel sends me up on this thing just by my own. I go on
I
Locked
said
on Auburn.
send him to the Wolves.
And
Send
I'm
him out there to
and
the
I
Wolves.
say, and they say, "Do you really think you're going to?
You're not
going to
start Stetson Bennett.
Stetson Bennett, and you think you're going to walk away with?" I said, "Yes."
Like, this kid's not a joke.
No.
He's not. I know you think he's joking, but Stetson Bennett's not a joke.
No.
He's not going to be the first quarterback taken in this draft.
Nope.
I'm not saying he's going to be the best, have the best NFL career of any quarterback taken in this draft. But listen, we're living in a world where Stetson Bennett might be drafted in the 3rd round, Clint. Stetson Bennett might be drafted on day 2.
By the way, we're going to move on to other quarterbacks here in a moment and talk about how ludicrous the combine is and people. Here's my prediction. LA Rams pick 69, I think. Day 2, 3rd round.
Yeah.
Look for Stetson Bennett.
I honestly think he will be the next quarterback taken after the 1st round. I think he'll be the first quarterback drafted outside of the 1st round. And that, again, is insane.
It's insane.
Kudos to Stetson Bennett. He has done nothing but prove everybody wrong his entire career, and he's still out here doing it. Somebody tell me Stetson Bennett will never start a game in the NFL.
Because I'll take the
Please, somebody tell me that.
bet right now. Right now.
Please, somebody tell me Stetson Bennett will never be a day 1, week 1 starter for a team in the NFL. Please, go ahead. Say it. Just say it.
Give me the odds.
Because listen, the kid just keeps doing it.
We're going to come back after this, but first, I want to talk about Built Bar. Built Bar is the tastiest protein bar on planet Earth. They got all them flavors. They got chocolate. They got crisps. They have puffs.
Crisp,
they got
not
this,
a flavor.
Well, it's true. That's true. Apple crisp is a flavor.
There
They
she
have
is.
that.
There she is.
They got that mint chocolate, Daniel.
Ooh,
They got
little
that-
Girl Scout cookie vibe to it.
Ooh, you
Yes,
got that
sir.
fudge brownie. They are the tastiest protein bar on planet Earth.
Yeah.
I don't know what's happened over since Yugoslavia stopped becoming a country, but they ain't coming out with anything like this over there. What I'm saying is we scoured the planet, Daniel. That's what I'm trying to get to.
I see. It was a roundabout way of getting there, but I think you landed it. No, I
Built
think you
Bar.
landed it.
Built Bar, the tastiest protein bar on the planet. High in protein, low in sugar, high in fiber. They are dietary approved to replace meals on the go, pre-workout, post-workout. Right now, get 15% off your entire order at built.com with promo code locked on. It felt good, Daniel.
It did. It felt like a real winner of a read. Listen, Stetson Bennett just going out here proving everybody wrong. You and me getting out here proving everybody right. Everybody
every single thing you said about
believed
us.
us to be not capable, and we show it over and over again. We, in fact, are not. Thank you
I'm
very
just
much.
giving the people what they expect.
Give the
Daniel,
people what they expect. Now,
can we
speaking,
talk about other quarterbacks?
let's talk about
please?
some other quarterbacks. I feel like it's been a couple days.
It has.
My man over here in the box next to me has been active on Twitter.
I've been on the
He's
Twitters.
Been active. You might have caught a stray from him. He's
At
not
this point, they
paying
ain't strays.
He's not paying any mind to what's going where. He's just
No.
out here firing.
No.
Stetson Bennett, we know exactly who he is.
Correct.
He's not going to wow you, but I don't see any reason why Stetson Bennett can't be a serviceable NFL quarterback.
100%.
There's some other quarterbacks in this draft, Clint, that some NFL GMs are convincing themselves are very high ceiling quarterbacks.
Oh, yeah.
They also have very low floors.
No. I'm just going to give one name. I gave this one name to Daniel. This is what the Combine does. The Combine convinces you to not trust your eyes. It convinces you to disregard every other thing about footballing on the field.
All things.
Talking to coaches, talking to players in live competition.
Don't watch that tape.
Don't watch
the tape is hard. It's long.
It convinces you.
So much
it's
time.
like when all your friends
here we go
get you in a room after dating that one girl, and they're like, you need to break up with her because she's the worst. And all your friends, she's just the worst. And all your friends are in unison. And you're like, yeah.
But what do you say?
And then what happens is you go to break up with her.
Yeah.
And then she's sitting across the table. And you're like,
all my friends are idiots.
They're all morons.
Every single one of them is an idiot.
I'm smarter than all of them. That's what it is.
I know better.
J.P. Lossman was a high first-round draft choice, the savior of the Buffalo Bills when he came out. He had nothing in college that proved that to be the case. Yeah. Joey Harrington had nothing to prove that was the case. All these players, they are convincing themselves that Anthony Richardson is the next best Cam Newton-esque, RG3-esque, all these comparables that people, I blame Madden for this as well. Madden has convinced us that anybody can be a GM and anybody can do talent evaluation based upon.
It's also convinced us that the most athletic player is the best player, because in Madden, if you get the most athletic quarterback, you win the game 100% of the time.
You win the game, which is great in a video game.
It's great in a video game. But once again, for the 1,000,000th time, what did Cam Newton do in college that separates him from what Anthony Richardson did in college?
Here we go. I'm going to list to you the two comps for Anthony Richardson.
Okay.
Cam Newton and RG3.
Okay.
Cam Newton, his last year at Auburn before he went, 66% completion. RG3 last year at Baylor before he went, 72% completion. Cam Newton last year at Auburn, 2,854 yards. RG3, 4,293 yards. Cam Newton, 30 touchdowns. RG3, 37 touchdowns. Cam Newton, 7 interceptions. RG3, 6 interceptions. Okay? And then
fairly comparable, very solid stats.
Very productive. Add on top of that, Cam Newton, 1,400 yards, 1,500 yards rushing, essentially. AR has the following. 53% completion.
Here we go.
17 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, 2,549 yards, which you would say, is kind of like Cam, except he only had 654 yards rushing. He's nowhere, and I mean nowhere, near the accomplished quarterback those two comps are.
You didn't even mention the only thing that matters.
How many times they won?
Yeah.
Okay.
RG3 in his last year at Baylor led Baylor to 10 wins. Baylor.
This is not Dave Aranda's Baylor.
Baylor to 10 wins, second in the Big 12.
2 bowls
that year,
if I remember correctly.
Finished runner-up in the Heisman Trophy.
Okay, great.
Cam Newton, winner of the Heisman Trophy, winner of the national championship, plus all those yards, plus all that completion percentage, plus those few interceptions, plus all the rushing yards, plus all that stuff. And then Anthony Richardson at Florida, who neither Dan Mullen, the quarterback savant,
the whisperer,
nor Sunbelt Billy could do anything with. And I'm talking about couldn't sniff 500 with this guy as their quarterback. I'm talking about lose to Missouri.
No.
I'm talking about... No. What did he go in that Missouri game? I wish I had it pulled up. He went like 7 for 29 in that Missouri game. Anthony Richardson didn't just lose, but he looked bad often as the Florida starting quarterback. The year before that, when he couldn't beat out Emory Jones for the starting quarterback position, he looked bad. We've been making the joke for years that the last quarterback that Florida had was a man named Kyle Trask. And since then, Florida has been making an attempt to win football games by starting a running back at the quarterback position.
By the way, just Anthony Richardson against Missouri, 8 of 14, 66 yards, a touchdown, and an interception.
66 yards.
8 of 14.
And did they win that game?
They actually did win that game.
They did win that game, okay. Touchdown and an interception, 8 of 14 for 66 yards. Against Missouri.
Correct.
Here's the point. Sometimes
Tell them.
You just have to watch them play football to know if they're good at football.
That's weird, Daniel.
It's not. It's actually not weird at all. Now, is Bryce Young shorter than most people? Yes, he is. Does he wear platform shoes to the combine to make himself feel taller?
Also, yes.
Also verified by photograph. But what has Bryce Young done? He has actually won football games and thrown the ball with a lot of success to his own wide receivers. What has C.J. Stroud done? He's thrown the ball with a lot of success to his own wide receivers and won football games. When you get to people like Will Levis and Anthony Richardson, could they become good NFL quarterbacks? Yes, they could.
Sure.
Yes, they could. Does that mean you should spend a top 10 draft pick on them?
No.
A first-round draft pick?
I don't know what team you were a fan of in the NFL. I'm not a fan of an NFL team because I have a soul. But if you like the NFL, I hope that your team is in the top 10, top 12, and doesn't have a need for a quarterback right now and can get out a
King's ransom
load of picks for AR.
King's ransom.
Great. Take it.
Yes.
We're going to come back after this, talk about one more dog that showed out at the combine. Hint, he's really good.
He stands near Stetson Bennett.
He does stand.
But is not Stetson Bennett.
No, he is not. But first, I want you to know about FanDuel. The midway point of the NBA season is here, and now is the perfect time to download FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Also, March Madness.
Yeah, the midway point of the NBA season is here, FanDuel, which is awesome, and we love that. We do love that. The official sportsbook partner of the NBA is FanDuel. We do love that. But March Madness is what I want to bet on, and FanDuel lets you bet on that too. You bet on these pods. Selection Sunday is this week,
it's this week. Oh, my goodness gracious. New customers get a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000. That's bonus bet back if your first bet doesn't win. Download the FanDuel Sports app. It's safe, secure, super easy to use. Then you can bet on anything from the money line to the point scores and threes drain. Plus, FanDuel lets you combine your bet with a chance for a bigger payout with same game parlays. So
you start rocking some of those same game parlays in the NCAA tournament. Things you need multiple screens. You need FanDuel pulled up on multiple screens. You got a whole situation.
No sweat first bet, $1,000 in bonus bets when if your first bet does not cash at FanDuel.com/lockedon. That's FanDuel.com/lockedon. Learn more. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the NBA.
Welcome to the third segment. It's like the Thunderdome of the podcast. Want to welcome you here. Glad that you made it.
Which one of us is Tina Turner?
That's maybe leave it in the comments. I don't know who, what will. Third segment. Let's talk about this guy Broderick Jones.
Can we? My God.
Did he do a thing? Did Broderick Jones come out here and did he just? Oops, I did a thing.
He Britney Spears all over that thing.
He did. He went to Indianapolis and he said, "Oh, I'm sorry. Are tight ends and linebackers the ones that are supposed to run fast? Is it? What if a lineman runs fast?
What happens when I can beat some of your defensive players, and some of your tight ends to
We're
the
talking
point of
about
attack.
people who are going to get drafted,
Uh-huh.
who play linebacker, who are going to get drafted,
Say it again.
ran a slower 40 time than Broderick Jones.
That's what we're saying.
Which means if he's trying to block you, and he's not only bigger than you, because he is by quite a bit.
Yep.
He's not only stronger than you, because he is by quite a bit, but he's also faster than you. Broderick Jones came out and ran a sub 5 second 40 time as
saying.
an offensive tackle.
That's what we're saying, David.
Clint?
Yeah.
Like, that's wild. It's insane. And
4.9740.
we were talking before we got on the podcast. You might think, well, the left tackle, all he does is this. Like, he just stands up.
He just gets into a set and punches. If you get that first
just
punch, have you all seen Kansas City, the Super Bowl winner, the Eagles? Have you seen these high caliber teams, the Niners, all of these high caliber teams that are out there doing screens for days, quick sets for days?
Yep.
Get it down the edges, get it to your players, have a tackle go out because he let his man go because the quarterback's going to dump it over his head. And now you got the tackle running out in space, and Broderick's going to beat people to the point of attack.
He's going to sprint out and hit a corner in the mouth and make him forget where he was born. And I know that to be a fact because, wait for it, I've seen him do it in football games.
There it is.
Once again, 40 times are great.
They are.
But also 40 times schmorty time.
I don't care.
What I've seen is, what was the most successful running play that the University of Georgia ran last season, Clint? Who all was involved in said play? I believe that the left tackle and the left guard came screaming around the right-hand side, pulled and came around the right-hand side, and they got behind tomorrow's hero of the podcast, Big O, Darnell Washington. And together, those men just decimated.
Made some sort of convoy.
The right side of a defense. It is very important for tackles in the NFL especially to be incredibly agile, quick, and not only that, but straight line fast. How many times have you seen a running back with an offensive lineman in front of him on a screen, and the running back blows the play up because he runs all over the back of his offensive lineman because the offensive lineman can't keep pace. He can't.
So you either have to set it up, you have to wait, you have to throttle down.
And if you throttle down in the NFL, guess what? Somebody got you from the backside. They're coming and they're all fast.
All of them.
But what if you had an offensive tackle that had the capacity to see that safety in the distance and just make a dead sprint and hit him in the mouth? That's what Broderick Jones offers you. That's why he's the number one tackle in this draft, Clint. I don't know if he's going to be drafted as the number one tackle in this draft. I'm telling you what's real. He's the number one tackle in this draft.
We said so with Jamari. We said so with Andrew Thomas. We have said this before. We know left tackles.
And because we've had a lot of them.
Because we've had a lot of them. He's it. He's him.
He's
Go get
that
him.
guy.
Pay him. Make him your starting left tackle from day one. This has been Locked On Bulldogs, part of Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day. We'll be back tomorrow talking about Big O and what other combine star. See you all then.
See ya.